host Edward Mbeche, aka Ed Blaze, CEO and founder of Helen Super App. Today, I have my friend Jordan Scott. Jordan Scott is the CEO and founder of Cobble. Uh, Jordan, I don't want to mess this up. It's Cobble. No, it's Cobble. We're going to talk more about Cobble, right? So we're going to get to learn about Cobble and what Cobble stands for and what they do, what kind of stuff you can leverage Cobble and kind of learn a lot of stuff about it. So
Hell yeah.
Jordan, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I was really looking forward to this and I enjoyed some of your past recordings. So
Thank you.
yeah.
That's awesome. Let's do this. Maybe just for people that have not or never heard of you, maybe let's
Of
give
which
them.
there are many.
let's see if we can like maybe trying to learn a little bit about Jordan, right?
Yeah,
So,
totally.
um, where are you from? Where did you grow up? Were you like Girl Scout cookie? Were you Girl Scout cookie
I love it.
or
I
like
love
a
it.
cheerleader? You know.
No to both of those. I never did Girl Scouts. I never was a cheerleader. And it's funny because a lot of people assume that I was. I
Yeah.
wonder if that's because I'm like kind of a petite person, like they thought I was like a flyer or something, and then Girl Scouts are just like well behaved little like
and,
troops
and
or whatever.
and just that energy, like
The
yeah, kind of
energy,
hit
I
me.
hear
Yeah,
you, but
yeah.
no, I did not do any of those things. I was really always in writing. Writing was sort of my favorite thing. I used to one year my parents bought me this little tape recorder and I was just going up to people on the beach on our vacations and was like interviewing them. My parents had to keep running over and like apologizing for me and they were like, I'm so sorry. And I didn't ask really hard hitting questions. I asked like,
Yeah,
why are you wearing a gray bathing suit? Like why did you choose that?
yeah,
And then afterwards, I would type the interviews up and I would print them out. And I had like this folder of interviews. So I grew up in Albany, New York, in upstate New York,
mhm,
and, had an amazing public education and was definitely very encouraged by my parents, my grandparents, even to be very creative. I didn't have anyone in my um, family that was sort of creative. My dad was in insurance. My mom was a stay at home mom. My grandparents, actually, I should say my dad's parents,
mhm,
my grandfather was also in insurance, and my grandmother was an actress and a playwright. So she
yeah,
was sort of the creative
mhm,
person. But yeah, my parents just always encouraged me to write that looked like screenwriting, fiction writing. And that's ultimately what I went to school for as well. So I always tell people, you have no idea what you're actually going to do. You're going to
yeah,
go to college, you're going to study something, but chances are you're not going to do that thing. But hopefully, whatever you did learn supports what it is that you
yeah.
end up doing, which writing, it was an amazing skill to sort of learn in storytelling, and that's absolutely impacted Cobble.
Mhm. That's good. That's so you grew up in Albany,
Hmm.
and you still live in Albany.
No,
You.
now I live in Brooklyn,
Oh, okay.
Brooklyn, New York.
Yeah, you Brooklyn. I have one of my best friend is like he's from Brooklyn. Everything you do, "You're Brooklyn." I'm like,
I know, we're so annoying. We're just like, we know we're from the coolest town. But no, I came to NYU and I just never left. So I've moved around the city the past 10 years.
okay, okay. So from like college, so you end up. I know you had some other. Um, Give me like maybe just a history or like from college. I know you did not start Cobble right away. What
No.
was it like? Okay, what was it like before we get to Cobble? Kind of talk a
Yeah,
little bit. Mhm.
yeah. So, like I said, in college,
Mhm.
I was really focused on writing. And I actually was in this program at NYU called Gallatin. And Gallatin was all about creating your own major. So I didn't just like do journalism. I actually created my own, and it was a combination of journalism, screenwriting, and fiction writing. And at the end, you have to present to this board what's called your colloquium, and it's so scary. You have to present your major and say like, hey, I should get a degree because of what I studied.
Mhm.
And everyone in Gallatin is so terrified of this colloquium. It's like a 6 hour thing, it's so big. And then you graduate if they
Mhm.
like accept your thesis and all your stuff. So,
Yeah.
following that, I all throughout college had different internships. So I worked at at, magazines. I worked at Cosmo. I
Yeah.
worked at online editorial, like Refinery 29. And then the last internship I had was at NBC, and I was sort of a liaison between Nightly with Lester Holt and the Today
Yeah.
Show, and I sort of made sure that they were connected. It was a cool internship.
Yeah,
And
I
so,
saw you had some awesome, like from
yeah,
even like Yahoo, and you're
yes,
talking about NBC. Yes, yes.
I
It's,
was very busy in college. There's
yeah.
something about going to school in a city, I think, that if you don't have an internship every
Mhm.
semester, it's like, what are you even doing?
Mhm.
And I think sometimes I feel like if I went to just a normal college, like you just can enjoy school and focus on studying. And like New York is like you're 17 years old and you're
Yeah.
basically like sort of already in the world.
Mhm.
But that being said, uh, after NBC, I was like, I think I do want to fully do journalism. So I went and got my first full time job at what was called CBS This Morning. It was the morning show on CBS.
Mhm.
And I think now it's called CBS Mornings or something like that.
Mhm.
And yeah, I was just like in hard news. It was like crazy hours, 3 a.m. to 3 p.m.
Yeah.
And I kind of realized very quickly that I didn't want anyone else's job
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't want to be the executive producer. I don't want to be on air. Like, what am I doing here then?
Yeah. I guess
Yeah.
that's what kind of helps you also from that curiosity when you're like little, when you're like interviewing people, and from even to college, you're like, this is what I wanted to do. And then doing the
Yeah.
internship, you're like, no, this is not what I want to do.
Yeah, it's a really scary feeling because
Mhm.
you prep your whole life. Like, I don't know, growing up in elementary school and middle school and high school, I just was like, I have to get into NYU. I
Yeah.
have to get into NYU. Once I got into NYU, I was like, okay, now I need to get an amazing job, get a dream job as soon as I graduate college. And then I
Yeah.
got the dream job. I was working at like CBS This Morning. It was such a huge morning show and I loved it. I was so excited. But the second you're like, what? I have nothing else to like work toward. Like it was a
Yeah.
really weird feeling. I didn't feel like I knew what was the next thing at all. And
Yeah.
I didn't like that. So
Yeah.
that's how Cobble was somewhat born. It was around then. It was actually another brand that I started called IDK Tonight. And it was really just about, you know, great curated plans. It was like I loved New York and I felt like people were always looking for like the new weird cool thing.
Mhm.
And so I would just bucket these little nights together. I would say like go to dinner here and then get a cocktail after here, or like go to this comedy show and then get a late dinner here, whatever.
Yeah.
And I just made an Instagram and a newsletter and I started doing that. And I was also still freelancing and stuff like that. I was doing social media for some random startups and things like that. And then, sorry to be blowing through this, but
No, no,
and
no, it's okay.
then
It's okay. Mhm.
after doing IDK Tonight for like a year,
Mhm.
I did start realizing that there were so many content sources out there. There's so many places where you can find ideas, whether it's following someone on Instagram or it's the infatuation or it's timeout or whatever.
Mhm.
But there was nothing that actually helped you make a decision on that content and actually go and do that stuff. Like it felt like everyone just had lists of things that they wanted to do all over the place, but there was not an easy way to follow through on that stuff. And so that's when I started thinking about Cobble and thinking like, what if there was something that combined really great content with like decisioning tools and helped you like really easily socially agree on stuff.
Oh,
Um,
so no, let's go back to IDK just
yeah,
quickly. Sorry. So the
sure.
IDK was more like not just like a content
Yeah.
management kind of
E
content gonna
exactly. Imagine
this.
just like an
Mhm.
online
Mhm.
magazine, right? Like there was a
Okay.
website, there
Mhm.
was an Instagram, there was a newsletter, and it was just recommendations on things to do and things to do sort of together. It was like combining different activities together, and every day we like made new plans, and that was it. It just was content. It just went out to an audience.
Well, was this more like for like you giving? So in my head, I'm kind of going all over the place. I'm trying to think. Was this more content like a newspaper, or was this more content like like we helping companies to do
Um,
like content
kind of like a
market?
concierge.
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
it was more like a newspaper.
Oh, okay. It was more like a newspaper. Okay,
Yep.
so from there, so I guess you almost kind of wanted to stay in the same kind of like media, uh,
Yeah.
but then transferring to Cobble. Maybe let's go a little bit
Yeah.
about Cobble. I want to learn more about Cobble. So,
Yeah.
what triggered from the media idea of IDK to Cobble? And maybe let's do this. Give a quick like what do you call we call like elevator pitch.
Yeah.
What is Cobble?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Cobble is a place where you can easily agree with the people in your life on what you do together. That's it. So if we're trying to figure out where to get dinner,
Uh-huh.
you should open Cobble. If you are going back and forth with your spouse or your friend group or whoever on what to watch or where to go get a drink or a number of different things, you should open Cobble and you'll connect with your people. And then Cobble will put curated content in front of both of you for you
Mhm.
to figure out what the best choice is. And as soon as you match on an idea, which means you both like the same idea, Cobble helps you make it happen. You have a joint calendar, you have all of the sort of reservation links available to you, all of the stuff to actually follow through on it. But the most important part, and the thing that we think we're doing differently as opposed to anything else out there, is focusing on the collaborative agreement part of things.
Mhm.
We think that there's tons of ideas. And of course, there's tons of like reservation platforms and ticketing platforms, but there's nothing that takes you and the people you're doing things with to like get to this agreement and then actually follow through on it.
Let's go back. I'm one of I always go back to like the thing is, are you smarter than the third grader? That's me. It's
I
like
hear
I'm
you.
like I'm. So you gotta explain a little bit. In my head, I'm like, why use Cobble instead of just texting each other? Like I said, we're in a group
Mm-hmm.
text. We're in a group
Yep.
text, and I have like maybe my three friends. We're texting, hey, we should go to this place, and one of oh, maybe we should go to.
Yep.
So how does that translate in Cobble? If I have, so it's four of us talking, trying to figure exactly like, hey, uh,
Exactly.
we're gonna go to this steakhouse. Oh, then we're gonna go to this. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
Yeah. So as opposed to sort of going back and forth and you're not sure like who's the planner, like who's
Mhm,
going to be the one that suggests ideas, who's going to make the reservation, or if someone has like preferences, like they don't feel like eating seafood or they aren't available on a certain date and time. Like we don't want all of that back and forth.
mhm,
With Cobble, you are able to sort of pitch an idea like, hey, I want to go out. I think this night would be a good availability. Let me know if this works. And then Cobble actually knows, because you've been liking different ideas in the app, it knows what you both might already like. It puts those suggestions into the plan that fits for the date and time, right? There's a restaurant that's open, there's an
mhm.
event that's going on. And then you send it out to the group chat. And the group chat only has to say, like, I like this, I don't like this, I don't know about this. They sort of rank each of the ideas.
Mhm.
And then Cobble tells the original planner what the number one match is, what the thing that works for everybody is. And in that regard, it's just one, I send it, people respond, and then it's done.
This is great for people who've been in relationship for a while, because some people that they don't know how to just, I don't feel like eating this. Oh, I don't, maybe you're like, you hungry? Yeah, I'm hungry, but I don't feel like, okay, this Cobble.
Absolutely. It's like we don't have time for this. And
Yeah.
everybody is sick of decision fatigue. Like we
Yeah.
all have it, especially founders. Like
Mhm.
we're making so many decisions all day long that when it comes to like simple decisions like where to get dinner, it's like I don't want to have to think about it. I just want something else to make
Yeah.
it easy and to get everybody involved, who everyone who needs to be involved sort of looped in.
Yeah. So with this, so Cobble, we download, like I
Mhm.
download Cobble and my friend down Cobble. So how do we get connected? So
It's really easy. You'll
mhm,
just add their phone number since all accounts are created by phone number, or you can
yeah.
connect your contacts. You'll
Mhm.
see that they're already on Cobble. Boom, you're
So you
connected.
just select who you want to, like let's say I have 100 friends
Yep.
who are on Cobble and I want to talk to only four. I just
Yes.
kind of selected four. I want to.
Exactly. And
Mhm.
something I do think is special about Cobble too is we're not trying to be this big new social media, right? We're
Yeah.
not trying to compete with like TikTok or
Yeah.
LinkedIn or any of these things. We want you to keep Cobble for your actual important relatively few relationships. It should
Yeah.
be your significant other, your two best friends, and your sister, or whatever it is. It's like the people you actually do stuff with is who
Mhm.
you should be connected with in Cobble.
Awesome. I love it. So with this, so once you make the plan, you figure
Hmm.
out which one you're, and you say, okay, you're the person who sent the message first. Then they bring you the results. Say,
Yep.
okay, this is what they have. Like this is the
Number, it
restaurant.
has like a
Everybody's saying,
percentages. It'll say
of
like 97% match at the
yeah,
top.
yeah, yeah. So from there, do you click to just tell everybody like, okay, this is where we're going,
Yep,
and this is time? Does it also
exactly.
does it ping or does it connect it to a calendar of everybody? Or how does that
Yeah.
work?
Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. So once I get the results back and I'm like, okay, this is the number one choice, I just click do it. And
Mhm.
then everyone who responded to the poll, and by the way, they don't have to be on Cobble. You can vote and be part of the decision just through a web view link, which is kind of
Okay.
nice. So it doesn't force you to download and join Cobble. You can sort of get to know it and love it and then choose to download it.
Okay.
But you are basically, it's if you connect your calendar, exactly right. It'll text you or email you depending on what information you put in, and then it'll add to your calendar.
Okay. So you have the web application also. People can just do on the web.
Yep.
Because I know like people sometimes if like they're at work or whatever, or they're like,
Yeah.
yeah, just gonna okay.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I can send you a test poll while we're on this call if
okay,
you want to
awesome.
try
Yeah,
it.
that'd be awesome. That'd be awesome. So with this, what other feature do you have in there, or what other feature are you planning to add?
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking, I'm looking at it this way, um, with so many apps being developed almost every day, right?
Hmm.
And like 5 years from now, 10 years from now, it's gonna be so many apps. What you don't have to answer this. If it's something maybe you don't want to your competitor to hear with it, like
Yeah.
what other feature do you think will be good to add there? Can you add because does it make reservation? Like is this
Not
like
yet. No,
no?
we're again not trying to be better than Open Table or
Yeah,
Resi. Like we just want to be partners with all of them. We just want
yeah,
to drive people. If we do a good job and we do our job of
mhm,
getting an agreement between people,
yeah.
then we can send them to Open Table or to Ticketmaster, although we don't want to send them to Ticketmaster right now.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
we'll
Ticketmaster.
send them wherever they need to go
Yeah,
to finalize, right? That's not the thing that Cobble's really good at. Cobble is really good at helping people agree and actually follow through on what they want to do. And to answer your question of like, how can we keep growing and getting bigger? Well, the
yeah,
actual real vision of Cobble is ultimately to be a decision making engine, first and foremost. So it's not always going to be, where do we get dinner tonight? But it should be, what rug do we need for our apartment? And what flights should we book? And beyond, beyond, beyond. Anytime
mhm,
that you're making a decision and someone else is involved, which is 99% of the time,
mhm,
we want Cobble to be where you make that decision. And, the example that I usually give is like Casper can sort of market to me on, wherever I am on the internet and I'll see it and I'll be like, oh, I do like that mattress. But ultimately I have to discuss it with the person who's sleeping on the mattress with me, my husband. And with Cobble, you can actually reach both halves of the decision maker in one place.
mhm.
And that's what we think is super valuable.
Okay. No, because I was thinking too, like I guess the question I asked because I'm thinking if it helps to do all that, the like help with the decision of picking a like location or whatever. And I'm
Hmm.
thinking like, well, we decided we're gonna go at the Brazilian steakhouse.
Uh-huh.
Let's just make the reservation there. Boom.
Yeah.
On the
Yes.
app. That's what
Yep.
I'm thinking.
That
Like,
that is how it works today. But
oh,
it's
that's
it's
oh okay.
using it's
That's maybe
using Open Table or Resi or wherever it
so you
actually is. But it
connected
happens.
or you
Yes.
connected with the IPI, whatever to that.
It's
Okay.
not. We do link out technically, so it deep links into their app, but
Okay.
at least the button is there.
Okay. Okay. That's
But
awesome.
ultimately, yes, we would like to have more official partnerships with them in place so that we can get even smarter about like availability and all that good stuff.
Okay. So I guess one of the things as a founder of like putting this together was this I know from the content from the media company you built IDK to
Mhm.
Cobble, um, what triggered for you to be like, I don't know if I asked this question. So
Yeah, it's
what
okay.
triggered for you to be like, hey, I want to do Cobble. Were you like kind of like you and your husband, like, like yeah,
Yeah. No, I
yeah,
was so sick of like,
mhm,
what do you want to do tonight? I don't
mhm,
know. What do you want to do tonight? I don't know.
yeah,
And
mhm,
that was the conversation that really kicked it off. And then I also was really sort of intrigued by all of the dating apps, but
mhm,
there was nothing for once you were like in a relationship that then helped you with like the next level of what to do. And so the very first iteration of Cobble, this isn't what it looks like anymore, but it was my husband and I were connected, and if we both swiped right on the same idea, we matched with each other.
yeah.
And that was it. That's where we were going to go. And you know what we heard from our early users was like, love using this with my partner, but I need to use this with friends and with other people. Like I don't just make decisions with my partner.
Yeah.
And so that's why we expanded.
Oh, so was this like so speaking of dating, so it's like you meet someone on Tinder or whatever, then you download Cobol, you're like, okay, let's
We
figure
can
out where we're gonna
connect
go.
and
Yeah.
now let's figure out what to do. Exactly. My dream is ultimately for, you know, Bumble and Tinder and all of them to start
Mhm,
seeing all these Cobble links come through the chat and be like, what is
mhm.
this Cobble thing where people are like making plans to actually go out with each other? That's what we want to see.
And hopefully we sell Cobol to Tinder or
We'll
much
see.
much.
Yeah, exactly. We have big dreams for
we
Cobble, so
we
I'd like to hold on to it for as long as I can.
we make a couple $1 billion, selling Cobol to Tinder or someone.
Listen, that's the dream. I think the team would be very happy with that.
Just remember, Jordan, I'm your friend. So
Hey, our Series A is coming up if you want to jump in.
I know, right? Oh, that's awesome. So yeah, let's
Yeah.
talk about. So you have this idea now. You have to put it to work because there's a lot of work. You, I'm taking that you don't have like technology background, where meaning you're
No,
not a developer coding.
I
So
am not.
so
I'm the content queen.
yes,
And
so that's
I have
perfect. Yep.
a incredible
Mhm,
team of product folks and
mhm,
developers who have taken. So originally, I had an agency build the MVP.
mhm.
And then from there, we raised our seed round, which was just at the end of 2020. We raised just over $3 million. And that's when I officially brought on the team. And,
Mhm,
you know, we've been very, very careful with how we spend those funds, and we have over a year of runway left actually.
mhm.
So we're just sort of focusing on getting the product right and continuing to iterate as quickly as we can. And we just so we in terms of localized content, we're just in New York, but I mean, I can tell you because I we'll see what happens, but
Yeah.
Atlanta and LA are actually both technically ghost launch. So if you're in either of those cities, you can also use Cobble.
In San Francisco. At San Francisco.
Soon, San Francisco. 2023 is going to be the year
Yeah,
of launching a
yeah.
gajillion cities.
That's so awesome. So you developed the MVP,
Yep.
which is I'm taking that you use your own money or some
Yeah,
family friend. So
exactly.
then you go fundraising.
Yep.
What was it like? Did you go directly to like angel investor? Did you go directly to VC? Like
All
how did that work?
angels, all
Uh-huh.
angels. We did our seed round, and that was definitely like it started with friends and family.
Mhm.
And luckily, we have friends. Very, very fortunately, we have friends and family who are in the angel community, and so
Okay.
therefore there was a lot of, oh, well, I'll send it to this person, and it just sort of went out that way.
Yeah.
And I was just on Zoom constantly pitching Cobble and showing the deck. And I remember one time, I don't even know how I got in front of these people, but it was like a group of doctors that
Mhm.
were listening to me pitch Cobble. And I was like, why are these people interested in Cobble? One guy fell asleep during it. It was like dark and he was like sleeping. And I was like, wow, okay. And then I think only one of those guys did investing. But you know, that's the thing. It's like you
Mhm.
just got to pitch like crazy. You have to keep hearing the same questions you're getting over and over again and like
Yeah.
really nail how you're sort of describing certain things. And then yeah, now this is when we're actually going out to VCs. And after our seed round, several VCs did approach us and sort of have been keeping in touch with us as we've iterated and
Yeah.
grown. So
Mhm.
we do sort of have our favorites in mind, but yeah, our goal is, 2023 is when we do our next round.
Okay. How do you make money? How does the company make money?
Great
Like,
question. So right
mhm,
now we're pre-revenue and we are very focused on just continuing to improve the product and really prove that we can also grow the user base. And we've done that. We have our CAC under $2, and we're just proving now that we know how to scale to cities beyond New York and all of that. So once we have sort of the product really running, then we are going to start implementing some of these revenue opportunities, which include rev share, right? If we're doing our job and we're actually making decisions for people, they're spending money. They're going out and they are, adding value to the world. And so we should get a cut of that if we're responsible for the ultimate decision. So that's number one. Number two is sort of more high level partnerships. So I'm not interested in making Cobble ad-based. I think that advertising is, sort of overdone. And also it's so important to our users that they actually know that what's being put in front of them is going to be a decision that everyone involved really wants to do and not just being paid for. So we don't want to do ads. However, I would be open to doing something like, for example, we're chatting with Amex right now about doing, a high level sponsorship of some content, right? So they are all about small business. I'm down to say, here are some small businesses that would be great for this night out, sponsored, presented by Amex. Like, that's fine. The recommendations are still ours and are still, using our AI to go in front of people, but brought to you by Amex. Great. Then Amex gets in front of them. And then the third is really data. And that's sort of what I described before around how valuable it is to not only know what I like and want, but to know what whoever I'm making a decision with likes and wants, and therefore what the ultimate choice is between us. No one has that sort of multiple input data that results in the final choice, and Cobble knows the final choice.
So let's talk about being a female founders, right? So because with this is like we have different experience. Me as a Black founder and also female founder is kind of different kind of obstacle that we hit, right? And the female founders, there's not a lot of female founders. And I was listening to some of this, I think it was TikTok or Instagram. Like they were talking about like sometimes there's a lot of female female do not like to jump into being a founders because they like the not comfortable, but they like, I can't remember exactly what they was. They like it's like sure
security?
thing. It's the security and the sure thing. Like, hey, this is gonna work 100%. Like, no, not like so. Like, can you maybe just a little bit, have you met a lot of female founders, or have you, like, what kind of problem did you run into? Like, and I know it's a little bit different with you because you end up having like some family, you got that lack of having some family member with some help doing investment and stuff.
Absolutely. I mean, I can only speak for myself, right? And I think that it's, I think the obstacles really come, whether you're a minority or you're whatever. I think if you have the opportunity, whether that's money or that's connections or that's whoever, like, and the drive, right? Like, you're going to make it happen. So you're going to make it happen. There's definitely obstacles that a lot of people, underrepresented founders, face that I don't think I faced. And I do think that's because I had such like a supportive environment. I had this idea. I was crazy passionate about it. I wanted to tell every person I ran into about it. And that, that helped me raise, that helped me build my team, attract people who I couldn't pay clearly what they were worth, all sorts of things. Now, I do think that I know a lot of female founders because I'm in New York. I'm in a lot of founder groups in which there are many female founders. There's definitely more female founders in like e-commerce and small business than there are like female tech founders. Them, I don't know a ton of. But again, I just think it comes down to like what you're really passionate about and just going for it. Like, I don't know. I don't know how different it is what I'm doing versus opening a bookstore, which I do want to do, by the way. We'll see. That's next. Once I sell Cobble.
Yeah.
I don't know if that answered your question.
Yes. I guess in a way, anyway, e-commerce, I have my own thing is thinking like e-commerce is almost like I mean, everybody probably want to try to be Sarah. What's her name? Sarah
Blakely.
Blakely, yeah. Which
Yeah.
is like that ship has sailed already. I don't know. Like I don't know. Maybe someone else might come make some
You know,
different
you
spandex or whatever. But
you mentioned earlier, like there's going to be so many more apps, right, in the
yeah,
next
yeah,
5 years, whatever. And
mm,
I sort of think like we just have to act like it's early. Like
yeah,
even if it's not, it is in comparison to the next 20 years, you're
mm,
early.
mm,
So like I don't know. I like to think that we're on the forefront. I mean, I also do think Cobble is starting a new category, and that is decisioning
exactly.
tech.
Yeah,
I don't know anyone else in decisioning tech,
mhm,
or certainly how we're doing it. So
mhm,
I think, you just always have to sort of tell yourself, only you have your brain.
yeah.
You are going to do something different than anyone else, even if they on the surface look like they're doing the same thing.
Mhm. So let's talk about hiring people, hiring product people to come into the team.
Mm,
Because you have this vision that where you see where you want them. So you become like, let's say you have 10 people that you hire or 20, but it's like you the person who knows exactly how where you want this thing to go. How do
yeah.
you end up hiring product people that they understand your vision and be able to come and add value to it? Be like when they come start talking to you, be like, oh, I didn't think yet. I like that.
Yeah.
Like it's like how do you pick people like that to end up
Oh,
coming working for you?
I mean, what I look
Tell me the
for.
process, even how you end up
Yeah.
hiring people. Did you get
Yeah.
some people that were good, and then you're like, no, you're not good. Then
No, I mean, we very luckily have, and I'll be open about this. We've only had to fire one person and only one person has quit. So, and both of those were super traumatic for me. But you know what? As a first time founder, like I know that I'm going to have to fire and lose so many more people in the future if we're successful. So you just try to get better at it with everyone. But that being said, the team that we do have now are an extremely loyal and dedicated bunch of people. And the very first person that we officially hired was our front end engineer. And he was actually in the WeWork that I was working all by myself on Cobble, and he was working
yeah,
at another
yeah,
company. And he was I guess that company was about to fold. And so he was sort of walking around the office being like, does anybody need an engineer? And I was like, I think I do, but like, I don't even know what I'm
yeah,
supposed to hire. And like,
yeah,
he was like, well, let me look and see what you have. And got him super excited. He had so many offers on the table because he's very, very bright and young
wow,
engineer. And then once he joined, and I realized, okay, I need a back end engineer. Like I got
yeah,
front end, now I need back
yeah,
end.
yeah,
He actually brought in his old co-founder and who was chief product officer of his past startup, and then the two of them came in and they just worked like a machine because they already
wow,
knew how to work together. And
yeah,
then so it just sort of grew from there. Like our lead designer is my CFO's brother. Like it's a family affair.
wow. That's so awesome. You've been
Yeah.
lucky so much. I went through this thing. Is like it's funny, just kind of because when you put like a lot of people that they don't know each other, sometimes it become tricky
Oh yeah.
because from the time is like you're saying, like finding this the front end and then the guy, the product person, and it's like they
Hmm.
work, they know each other. But when you're
Exactly.
putting like a new team, sometimes it become tricky because you're trying to learn people's behavior. People just
Hmm.
like we're people, right?
Hmm.
So, but
Yeah.
like if when you find someone who understand the vision or they can understand the picture, the big picture, it's so awesome. It's just
Yeah,
nice.
exactly. And I do think it's important to just like remind your team at
Mhm.
nauseum. Like it might feel too often, but just to keep reminding them what is the vision? What is the big picture? Because it's so easy to get bogged down by the little minutia of every day. And this is hard, and this is hard, and this is hard.
Mhm.
Startups are really hard. We
Yeah,
wouldn't be doing it if there wasn't this massive upside down the road. So
yeah.
just to continue reminding your team that there is this big thing that you're trying to accomplish and that you still really believe in it, I think does a lot for like morale.
So one of my friend mentioned, they say founders or startup founder mean they have something wrong in their head.
Oh,
Meaning,
definitely.
like
Definitely.
like let's say like right now, if someone come to you and say, "Hey Jordan, we want you to work for Google, and we're gonna give you $1 million, $2 million
Yeah.
a year." you're gonna be like, okay, but you're gonna be using that $2 million to keep putting on Cobble.
Absolutely. That is so funny and so
It's,
true. I
yeah,
think we should actually approach
yeah,
like young kids who already are seeing sort of mental illness pop up for them, whether it's bipolar or it's something, and be like, hey, you might be really well suited to be a founder one day.
yeah,
Like this is what founders have, something a little tweaked with them.
yeah.
And that's how they do crazy things.
Mhm.
So maybe
Yeah.
we need to like start telling the
Start
younger
something.
generation, like, so you have this problem. Great. This
Oh,
is what you're
great.
going to do.
Yeah, yeah.
I
Let
like
me
that.
let me pre-invest in your ideas. I know
Exactly.
10 years from now you're gonna have like some yeah, that's awesome.
Exactly. No, we don't
Yeah,
fit the mold.
yeah. So what would you tell a young female founders when
Mm.
they want to start from scratch, or maybe they want to leave their job and start this? What would you tell them to look for? Like, like hey, you're gonna run into this, or you're gonna be able to, how to solve
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Oh my God, there's so much, right? I mean, I left my job with no other job. So
Mhm,
that I don't know that I would totally recommend that. I
mhm.
think that's really hard for people to do, is just like jump ship without something else lined up that's gonna like keep their paying their rent. But I would say if it's not even like the full big dream job that you want, like what I did was I got a bunch of little side hustles. I was like working on this thing and working on this thing. I actually ended up making more money than I made at CBS. Like they don't pay you shit.
Yeah.
Um, but and then in the sort of I was nannying, and then in the interim I was starting to sketch out my website and draw little rectangles of app
Yeah.
screens and be like, ooh, this and this and this. And I had absolutely no experience with that, but I just started putting pen to paper and getting really really excited about it. And
Yeah.
when you feel like you can't stop talking about it, I think that's when you got to just figure it out. And you get other people on board, be in groups, go join founder groups, join like engineering groups if you need to meet engineers or whatever, and just start
Yeah.
meeting people and seeing if they are excited too.
So networking, and kind of uh, before you leave, don't leave your job yet, but use that job to kind of build where you're
Yeah.
doing slowly. Quick
And just
question.
like, yes,
Mhm,
they up.
mhm.
Yeah.
Oh, cool, cool. Were you when you launched Cobble OIDK, were you already married to your husband?
No.
Okay.
Actually, that's a funny story.
Mhm,
I've been dating my husband now for almost 8 years, or we've been together for almost 8 years.
mhm,
And when we first moved in together, that
mhm.
was when within 2 weeks of moving in together, I quit my job at CBS and was like, "Hey, I'm quitting my job. I'm
Yeah,
not looking for another job, and
yeah,
I'm going to start a company that's about like making decisions with your partner. Like, so you can't leave me because you're my partner. Like, we need to like test the app."
yeah.
And he was like, great. He just was down. I was like, wow, I love this guy. Um, so yeah,
Probably no. In my head, I'm like, probably he's going like, what did I get
he's
myself
like, I
into?
just agreed to live with this person. We're splitting the rent. Like, what is she gonna do? But
Yeah.
no, he was never for 1 second wavered. And we just had a baby actually. So now we're throwing that
Oh,
into the mix.
congratulations! That's
Thank
awesome.
you. Yeah, she's
Yeah.
5 months old.
So was he like kind of supportive? Like he has his own job. You don't work together,
Yes.
right?
No.
Was he okay? Was he supportive, like to be like, yeah, sure, like because sometimes it's like you have your partner. It's like you gotta bounce ideas. What do you think about this? What do you think?
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
he's my number one.
yeah.
He likes to call himself the number one product tester. So whenever we go out to dinner using Cobble, he's like, "This is what we're doing."
Okay.
He says this absolutely beautiful thing, which is that
Mhm.
he says like, he's the floor and I'm the ceiling. So it's really sweet.
Oh, I love that.
I know.
What a smooth guy.
He really is. That one gets me every time. He's like, I'll
So,
make sure the floor is there. You just bring it as
yeah.
high as you can.
But do you think also like maybe speaking of partners, I guess that's one of the it's good finding someone who can actually be like that also, like someone you can kind of bounce idea with, give you some suggestion and all. Otherwise it's like it, I dated someone. It's like in my head I'm like I'm running like 100 mile per hour,
Yeah.
and I would trying to bounce some idea. What do you think about this? And they just go like, oh, I think it's a good idea. And
No,
you're like, oh,
no,
like,
no,
oh,
no, no. You need
everything is a
someone.
good idea. Everything is a
No. First of all, we know that's not possible. So it's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
no. No, you definitely need someone who is that like supportive and like
Yeah.
pushing you forward, but it's
Yeah.
also like, maybe it's not, oh, I don't like that idea, but it's, what do you think about this? Or it's just questioning.
Mhm.
That is so much more effective in like
Yeah.
helping you actually figure out what to do rather than just a I like it or I don't like it. That doesn't help anything.
Awesome. I'm waiting for Cobble to even go into like matchmaking. So you'd be like, hey, we see you, and you'd be like, hey, we see you, Ed. You love this kind of stuff, but
I know. We hear
we
this
see this
all the time.
lady,
We're like,
we
you
see
know
this
what these
lady.
matches are. You already know the
Exactly.
matches. Just put
Yeah.
people together.
Exactly.
Maybe.
That's
I
what I'm
never
thinking.
never say never, but right now we're focused on our niche. Niche? I
Talk,
never know if
talk.
it's niche or niche.
Niche, I know one of those. Dude, I don't know. That would be awesome. It's like, can you imagine? New York is so big, right? Just
Yeah.
see that New York is so big. Someone maybe in Brooklyn, someone is Manhattan, and you look at them like, this person loved this kind of stuff, and this person in Brooklyn, it-
Yeah. Not
oh
even
my
that.
god.
It's like you're both free Friday
Mhm.
at 6 and you both want to
Exactly.
go to this restaurant and it's both 10 minutes away from, but like, go. Yes,
I'm,
there's a lot
I'm,
of opportunity there.
I'm telling you, the sky is the limit. You can go so many ways with it.
Yeah, that's
Listen,
that's the hard part.
Jordan, thank you so much. I really want to appreciate again for taking the time to chat with me.
Yeah, thank you
Maybe
so much.
no problem. Quick question. Not really a question. Maybe can you tell how people can find you, how can find Cobble, and also what is the next? I know you
Few
mentioned
cities. Yeah.
Atlanta, and yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so you can find us at trycobble.com, TRYCOBBLE, and that's our handle on all the socials, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, Twitter, whatever it is. You can find us there. And then please do check out our jobs page. We are hiring for several pretty big roles. And in terms of cities we're launched in New York, we're ghost launched in Atlanta and LA, and Miami is coming in January, followed by many, many more cities.
So for people who want to get in, also, I know you're getting ready for Series A.
Yeah.
For people who are trying to, they want to invest, how can they get in touch? Can they just
Yeah.
reach through the website, or is
Yeah.
it like
Yeah, you can always send us a note through the website or you can email directly at go@trycobble.com.
awesome, Jordan?
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And it was awesome talking to you, and a lot of value here.
Hey, we
I
got a
really
short
appreciate it.
week, right? It's
I
Thanksgiving,
know.
so
Yeah, I
let's
know. I
just
know.
enjoy
Yeah, awesome.
it.
You going to Auburn? You
No,
still?
my parents and my family actually all moved to Miami, so we're actually going to go see
Oh,
my husband's family in Long Island.
yeah, better. I mean, Thanksgiving. I guess which one is? I'm trying to think about like I think it's Christmas, like where you have to have at least snow or some cold
Yeah,
somehow
I
instead of
know.
to be in Florida, like where it's
It feels
warm and
so weird,
just
but we are going to do Christmas and New Year's in Florida with my parents, so
you
that's
should
where we're going.
you should flip the
Swap
other
it.
way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. I agree.
Thank you so much, Jordan. Again, I
Thank
really appreciate
you.
it. All
Have
right,
a great
thank you.
rest of your day.